I'm excited. Thank you for having me.
It's hard to know where to start with you, like I just said, but I guess I'll start with, like, what's a typical day look like for a world-renowned NBA trainer? I feel like so many people feel like they know you, they look up to you, they're following you, but, like, what's a typical day look like for you?
Typical day, like work day, would probably be starting around 7, 8 a.m. In the off season, or like my slow time. Go until hard stop at 11:30. Then we do lunch and have our business meetings, have our podcasts that we do, and that'll take us all the way to 2 o'clock. From 2 to about 7 o'clock would be another like hard influx time for us to train.
Yeah.
But we do have a lot of pocket times where we're filming content, which is one of the main driving forces of our industry now.
Yeah, the marketing side of things. So why do you think, I asked about the lifestyle and I opened with that, because, like, why do you think it's such a, I know when you started this wasn't such a saturated, I want to say, industry, or it's like everybody wants to be a skills trainer now.
Yeah.
Everybody's looking at you as kind of the forefront, and like a few of you guys up at the forefront. Why do you think this this area of expertise is becoming so common, and it's like everybody wants to be a skills trainer now?
I think a lot of it is based off of the social media presence, and people get to see what they want to see, and they get to see the edited version of a lot of these things, and they get to see us engaging and interacting with high-level clientele, high-level NBA players or prominent players, and they get to see us going to events and being pretty much an NBA player in their eyes, a role model, or somebody that has a little bit of notoriety, a little bit of fame. And not saying that I have fame or whatever, but
no way you do.
But there's some things that social media has given us to really put ourselves in that position. Now, it's wild because everybody sees that, they forget what it took to get to this position. And there were so many days where I would just grind from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m., 9 p.m. at night, driving from court to court. Like when I was first starting out, I had a Toyota Prius, orange Toyota Prius that had my name all over the side of it. The top of it was a basketball.
Wow.
Like it was just all. I got to send you a photo, man.
Super loud. Huh?
Just super loud, but it was my advertising. That was my marketing stream, and that's how I was able to. What was that?
When was that?
When I got done playing, so 2012.
Yeah.
I got done playing my last 2013, and that was my style of marketing. Was in your face, driving on the road, because I would drive over 100 miles a day. So I was driving in San Diego, would drive from North County to downtown to El Cajon to downtown La Jolla, and I'd just grind the entire time. And people don't understand, like, when we start out, like, as trainers, like, it's driven purely off passion. Like, it's not the glitz and glamour. Like, you don't just jump into the market and get to train, Klay Thompson or get to train Carmelo. Like, you're training a bunch of very rudimentary, very beginner level like players, and you're building a foundation of your business. So there's a lot of times where your patience is tried, where your relationships are tried, where your ability to have quality time with the people that you care about is really tried. And that's the thing that not too many people fall in love with or are able to see, and they don't want to see, and they don't get to see based off of that social media presence that we've built this stigma around basketball trainers.
It's easy for me to see, like, someone coming up and wants to be an NBA skills trainer. They hear that from you and other people, maybe, that it almost adds meaning to the grind they're in now, like that early stages. But for you, you didn't really have anyone to look at, that North Star or whatever. So did you have someone, or like, did you always have in the back of your mind that, like, I want to be NBA, I want to be training NBA players, I want to be running clinics, I want to be traveling the world? Or was it just, I absolutely love doing this, and I'm going to do as much as I can?
So it actually happened. So I will tell you the story on how I became a skills trainer, and it kind of fell in my lap. I was training. I wasn't training. I was working at my school gym, UCSD's gym, called REMAC, and I was checking people in. So, like, they hand me their ID, I check them in, boom, they go in. And this mother came up and approached me and was like, "Do you guys offer basketball sessions?" I told her no, but I'm on the team. I might as well try it. So I literally started by a pure whim, by God's grace. Somebody walked into my lap and tried training, and I actually loved the teaching side of it more so than the basketball side of it. So I fell in love with the process, with the transformation process, with the development process, and seeing somebody from literally the ground floor, just from scratch, being able to mold them a little bit to how I have played basketball my entire life. So it was, now I can see pieces of me amongst the community. And like, for me, that was so much bigger than the sport. Like, that was my way of doing something with the sport. And I had grown up wanting to be an orthodontist my entire life. So went and had an official visit like to UOP School of Dentistry in Northern California. And like, that's what I wanted to do, was I wanted to be an ortho. And then when I got to college, I switched that up and I wanted to be an agent. And then I decided that I could play overseas because I had a really good college season. So I played overseas. So like, my mind was in shambles. I had no idea what I wanted to do. And all of a sudden, this lady comes into my life who wants me to train her kid, and I found a passion. I found my calling. So it purely is based off of passion. You know, I found what I love to do, which was teach, and I was able to form that into a long-standing business.
It seems like you're a really articulate and methodical teacher while still being that passion you talk about. In your eyes, like, has that been a gift you've been given? Is that something you've cultivated over time? Like, what makes a good teacher a good teacher, and then how do you develop that skill set, and how did you develop that skill set? Because it seems like it's head and beyond like what other people are doing.
Yeah, so break that down. So for me, like, it was never something that was innate. It was, you know, I was personable, but I wasn't memorable. Like, I can hold a conversation, I can grasp a conversation, but you weren't going to remember what the conversation was. I can charm you with a little bit of charisma, but it wasn't, you know, how can I really sink my teeth into you to make you feel my presence? And that was all learned, and it really became a means of me being confident in what I was saying. Like, if you just go out there and you think, okay, I'm just going to make this up on the fly, like, to start off, you know, it really is very difficult to make something happen. But I got really confident in my ability to speak, and just to speak continuously.
And how did you develop that?
So I started with just a little trial and error thing that I did, and I actually put this in my Trainer's Guide to Success, was I would put my iPad and I'd face it toward me, and I'd just press record. And my goal was to talk for 3 minutes, or talk for 1.5 minutes to start. And after I got done, like, in this could be one topic, could be whatever, I just had to talk. And what it did was it helped me develop an ability to speak without, you know, via monologue. So the easiest time to speak is hosting a conversation or a dialogue with somebody, because you get to see what they're feeling. Like, when I say something, you smile, like, I know that I have you. You know, I know that I have you kind of roped into what I'm saying or agreeing with what I'm saying. But when you're speaking to a camera with nobody present in the room, it's a monologue. So I don't know if it's, you know, how it's sitting with you. I don't know what, you know, what it developed. So this allowed me to feel confident in how I was presenting myself and what I was saying. And then my 1.5 minutes turned to 3. And my 3 minutes turned to 5. And then my 5 minutes turned to 10. So you pick a topic, doesn't matter. I'll talk to you for 10 minutes, talk your ear off about a topic that, you know, I feel comfortable with or confident in what I'm saying. And there's a lot of things, like, from a teacher's perspective, it's not always what you say, but it is how you say it. And if I can say something with confidence and a little bit of pomp in my style, my players, whether they're older than me, younger than me, better than me, are going to believe in what I'm saying.
And so for people listening who are maybe a trainer looking to convey that kind of passion and enthusiasm with the people they work with, or like me, like just any type of person I work with, or teammates to teammates, what are some of the actually type of skill sets that you develop? Like, what are some things people can work on themselves that kind of convey this enthusiasm and influence people? Like, what is it? Is it the tone of voice? Is it your eye contact? Is it your enthusiasm with your body? Like, what especially makes people captivated by what you're saying?
Positive affirmation touches. So we talk about this for all my kids. Like, we do a group. We have a target goal of positive affirmation touches each day. So they have to get 50. So in the course of like a 1.5 hour, 1 hour and 15 minute session, they have to get 50 positive affirmation touches. That could be a high five, slap on the butt, slap on the back, you know, good job with a handshake. But it just gets them more confident in communication and leadership.
I like that.
And it's something that we get really easy to just get into this monologue, you know, demeanor where we're just on our phones conversating, you know, with our thumbs, and it takes a little bit of effort to get out of that stigma or get out of that habit, because kids are doing it on a consistent basis all day. So when they get in the gym with us, it forces them to have a dialogue, it forces them to become a little bit more leaders and establish that voice. So all of it can be tied into what we call like our voice, finding your voice. And that is tone, it is engagement, it is, you know, the positive affirmation touches. All that plays into that voice.
And you're obviously, like, the enthusiasm, the energy you bring is a huge part of what you do, but the other part of what you do is the X's and O's of being a skills trainer, and you're training the best of the best. You started from, you know, the bottom in your words, and then built your way up. How'd you kind of cultivate that skill set to be able to, like, methodically break down the game in such a way that you can teach it so well, you could you could train the best. You could train, middle school guys. Like, how did you develop that skill set and that toolbox to train at the highest level?
So I found what I was good at. I knew what I was good at, and I relied on that extremely heavy when I started off. So I did that in order to build like my brand, to build a niche. Then from there, I decided to take all the things that I was deficient at and build them up to a baseline. So like my defense, my ability to dribble. Like I sucked at handling the basketball. Like when I was in college, if I dribbled the ball more than 3 times, like the thing was getting stolen. Like that's how much I hated putting the ball on the ground. So I did everything. I was very efficient. And I was very, good at the triple threat. And those are things that I relied on teaching. But as I grew and as a trainer, I just built my deficiencies up to a baseline. And then once I built everything up to a baseline where I felt like I had no liabilities in my game, I continued to highlight different aspects: ball handling, counter moves, combo moves, mid post, the triple threat extension, moves off the pick and roll. Like then everything started being able to fine tune each one of those dynamics. So it literally, just like everything in life, just like business, if you don't have a consistent, strong foundation, it's very easy to find cracks in the things that you teach. So I just made it a point of impact to just build up that foundation enough to where I can highlight each skill concept that I'm teaching to where my client wouldn't, strongly suggest otherwise.
It's kind of like how you approach everything. It sounds like what you just said, whether it's your ability to speak your message or like teach the game. It started with very small, methodical, incremental growth. And then for me, looking at you, you had great success at UCSD playing at the college level. You went on to play pro. You stepped away from the game, it sounds like, by choice. And then it seems like the whole training thing and becoming a world-renowned skills trainer, of course, took work. But like you said, it fell into your lap almost.
Yeah.
So it's easy to look at you and say, wow, this guy has an awesome linear path. Like he had a start, the next step, and then he got to where he is today. And for other people, it's easy to look at that and say, well, I'm just not that. Like my path's not that linear. Like my next step isn't so clear. Is there something that stands out for you as like a clear failure you've had, or a clear time where you were just up against a wall and like you're like, how the hell am I going to get up this wall? Like when was it like really tough for you? If you could talk on that and how you got over that.
I mean, it was the whole like first 3 years of me running my business. Like, people don't see that grind of like going to gyms. Like I would literally get kicked out of facilities because I was coaching in their gym when I shouldn't have been. So I had to grind and move our, practice to an outdoor gym, that was a quarter of a mile away. And then I had to pick my clients up from school in order to get them to work out because I wanted their, business so bad. And then, I had to do like all these little random things in order to make my job sufficient, in order to make my career path sufficient. And those were, daily things, daily troubles, daily problems that I had to, kind of overcome. But one of the things that, that I love telling, it's actually what I built my business on, is passion fuels growth, and consistent growth will equate to success. And that's one thing that I kept in mind, with me. I every day I drove the day with my passion, and that got me through each day. And from there I was able to continually grow in the way that I articulated each conversation, the way that I built each relationship. And that was my continuous growth. And that eventually led to a position for me to be in where I had the opportunity to come up here and, have an actual facility, at my fingertips.
What's the process of you cultivating that passion every day? I'm sure, that's something people hear a lot, but day in, day out to have passion is tough. And even for me on this climb, I'm like very passionate, very excited about what I'm doing, but on a day in, day out basis, there's just some days where you just don't have that passion. Is there something you do to like remind yourself? Is there a daily habit you have that grounds you? Like, what do you do for that?
So my faith has been a huge component of my life and my upbringing, and that's something that every day, like it's been, we go to Saddleback Church right here, and Rick Warren does an amazing daily devotional, and I kid you not, it's like every day when I wake up and I go through the devotional, it's like always hits home. So it always grounds me right away. And it's always something like, for me, I've been very blessed with I don't worry very much. So like, I'll handle the day's, brings, as is, whatever it is, and I'll handle it with a smile on my face. And then once that day is over, then I'll start worrying about the problems of tomorrow. And that's very difficult for us in today's society. Like we're in a society where we're planning 5 years ahead and we're worrying 2 weeks ahead. And the problem with that is, when we worry that much, it doesn't give us time to worship for what we have. And when we try to plan so much, we can't pray for what we're going through on that day. Like, and if I focus on all these problems that I have, maybe in the future, I can't really address the things that I'm struggling with today. And like, that's something that always hit home for me is I need to handle everything that it is today with as much passion that I bring to this sport, as much passion I have for my life, and really tackle the problems or the issues, the things that I'm struggling with at that moment. And as a result of that, it's going to be a lot easier for me to find my footing, from the days that follow.
I've seen and I've heard, the importance that faith has played in your life, and it's super admirable. For me, I didn't grow up in that setting, but as I've gotten older, I've recognized that the importance of believing in something beyond yourself is so crucial. And it sounds like what you're saying, despite specifics as to what people believe, having some sort of faith in something beyond you, it kind of grounds you in the moment.
Yeah.
So you're not focused on a year in advance. You're focused on this next play, this next play, this next play, and then it's a bottom line sense of trust. It seems like you've had along.
Yeah.
Looking back, people in the middle of the climb, similar to where you were, grinding, driving 100 miles a day.
And that's not an exaggeration, by the way. It's a legitimate. My average drive was 110 miles per day.
That's insane.
Yeah, because we did our taxes.
You got a Prius.
I know, right? Yeah, we did our taxes, and I would literally write off every mile at the end of every tax year. It was miserable.
That's
insane. It was miserable.
What do you say to someone, in that stage of their life? You could say that to me, asking selfishly, I guess. What would you say to someone like me, who's in the cut of the climb? I'm doing whatever I can to talk to cool people and grow myself and my skill set and make the connections necessary. And what do you say to someone like that? Do you say, enjoy the ride and have fun and don't take it too serious? Do you say put your head down and work and do whatever's necessary? Or is it a balance between the two?
You have to find that healthy balance, and that's something that. It was for me, it was an easy fit, right away, because I was passionate. I found out I was passionate for teaching, and I found out I could make a lot of money, doing it. So it was holy crap, here I am, heart of college, just finishing college, and I can make this a career with, the 3 months that I've poured in, or the 6 months that I've poured into to training, it made it realistic to me. And I think that's a great place for people like you to start, is find what you're passionate about, find that love for it, but understand it's got to put food on the table for you, and what is it going to take to get to that point.